Today on the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast, we are discussing feedback about WandaVision up to episode 8 because, oh my god, there's so much to talk about, especially Agatha.
Welcome to the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. My name is Matthew Carroll.
And I'm Jeff Randall.
Jeff Randall, how you doing, buddy?
It is a good time to be alive with this WandaVision, man.
Right? Oh, man, I am so pumped every week. I was talking to somebody in the Stranded Panda chat this week about how it's just like, it really is like Christmas morning in a way.
Every Friday.
Yeah. The only thing that had me excited like this before was the like yearly or like 3 times a year movies. And now I'm getting it like every Friday. I get that same like Christmas morning feeling, and it is thoroughly good.
Yes. It's so nice to have good content. Yeah. Again, especially so frequently.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, this is just on a level that we've just never experienced. It's so exciting. Let's bring in Ms. Ashley. How you doing, Ashley? Producer Ash?
Oh, I'm really good. I can't wait to talk about this.
Woo! Marker. The double person scene says Matthew Fox.
Dang.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I even said it before we started, and I forgot to change it. My bad.
Places, people, places, roll back camera.
Yeah. Thank you, Agatha.
You wanted me to hold the baby, right?
Do you feel like this is all your fault, Matt?
You're not supposed to talk.
That was so creepy.
Right?
I loved it. Do you feel like this is all your fault, Matt?
Do you feel like this is what you deserve?
Oh my god.
Do you feel like this is all your fault?
Yes.
Your punishment must be more severe.
Okay, so before we get started, let's hit him with that 5-star review, Jeff.
Well, this 5-star review comes from Slower Bunny.
Slower Bunny. I love it so much.
Jeff is great. Let him nerd out. When Jeff nerds out, he's great, but it seems like the other guy is always cutting him short. Let Jeff nerd out. We love it. All right. Other guy. You should let me off the chain.
All right, listen. I definitely love Jeff nerding out, and I'm all here for it. You're fully unleashed. Nerd out all you like. But the other guy? Come on. Come on, man. That's just
it's funny. No, it's relevant because it's MCU, and that makes us think of the Hulk, right?
So I'm the Hulk to your Banner?
Or Thor. Banner. Maybe. I don't know. It's weird.
It is weird. We do have similar hair swoops today.
I noticed you copied my hair.
The beard.
Copied my beard. Okay, so, but in all seriousness, I do my best to let Jeff run as wild as he likes. I love Jeff geeking out too. I definitely don't want it to seem like I'm suppressing his geeking out. All I am ever trying to do is keep the show moving and make sure that the people out there understand what we're talking about. Because Jeff gets excitable and doesn't explain what he's talking about sometimes. And I'm like, okay, Jeff, slow down. Let's bring everyone else with us.
You just got to get on my level that's what's happening here.
That's fair. That's a totally fair assessment.
Yeah, that's the problem here is you're not on my level, bruh.
And exactly. So I know there's other people that aren't as well. So I'm just trying to bring them along. All right. But thank you for that 5-star review. Thanks everybody for the 5-star reviews lately. It's been really great. We've been moving up in the rankings a lot. Before we get started, let me do something special here. If you're watching on the video, you're going to see our brand. I'm going to use my Agatha powers. Hold on. Help me out, Jeff. Agatha powers. You're doing it the wrong side.
No, I'm not.
Nope. Yeah, you are. Wrong way.
I am.
Wrong way. There you go.
Let's do both of them.
Oh. Brand new podcast logo, and we did it right on screen. We used our wiggly woos.
God.
Right?
That's a good transition. Good transition. I liked it.
We are basically here to do all feedback today, just like we've been doing on Tuesday podcast, the Tuesday podcast. We did need to mention Bingers Assemble, our other show. where we rewatch movies so you don't have to, started our new series about Godzilla versus Kong, which is coming out later this month.
Kaiju Fest.
Yeah, Kaiju Fest indeed. Me and Nathaniel Muzzy are having a blast covering the Godzilla versus Kong on Bingers Assemble. So if you like what we're doing here, I think you'll like that show. Bingers Assemble on all your podcast apps. And yeah, that's it. And next week we will put a new logo up on all the places, not just the video place. So be aware of that, because sometimes when a logo changes, I can't find a podcast. Because I searched them visually and I'm like, where's the podcast I'm looking for? Our new podcast is like red and gold, got a little blue in there. So
and hexagons.
Yes, indeed.
Because they are the bestigons.
Exactly. I knew you'd like it. So those are the things I needed to mention up top. And let's get into the feedback. How about it? Or Ashley, what do you think of this week's episode?
Yeah, let's get into the feedback, starting with our producer, Ashley.
Yeah, Ashley's Corner. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I felt so seen and represented by Marvel bringing witches into the fold finally. We didn't have that on the board. Who knew it was going to be witches? I mean, Doctor Strange was a sorcerer. It's different. He's a wizard. It's different.
What is the difference?
One's a man, one's a woman. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. I was like, warlock
I feel
and
like they
witch.
use different kinds of magic. Like Doctor Strange, their magic is from what?
It seems like a D&D difference where like wizards learn magic through arcane study, where sorcerers have their magic just kind of in them, and it's their force of will that brings it out.
Except sorcerers is what Baron Mordo calls them.
Right.
Too many sorcerers.
They never actually were like witches. So I'm loving the whole witch thing. Like I didn't think I'd ever get to see the Salem 7 on TV. Like it's crazy. We're living in crazy times.
Absolutely. But it is weird. Is witch the only difference between witch and the others? Is it just that they are male and female? Is it just, are they female sorcerers? Or
I feel like there's female sorcerers, but I've never really heard of a female wizard. I'd have to do a little bit more looking because I'm sure they're out there.
Are there male witches?
Yes.
I think that the way that Harry Potter depicts it is that witches are female, wizards are male, and the bad versions are sorceress and warlock.
That's cool.
I mean, if we're getting into semantics.
I don't recall that being semantics in that, like, because they're all just wizards, right? I don't know. I'm out of my depth here. We should find out someone that's very up on wizard lore. Let us know. Let us know the difference between wizards, sorcerers, warlocks, and witches.
Yeah, like not the Harry Potter world. I don't think that counts. But I felt bad for Agatha. Like she was the Caecilius of her coven. Like not even that. Like she did what Doctor Strange did, and she was horribly punished for it, while he got to go on to be, you know,
the Sorcerer Supreme.
It's kind of messed up.
Well, you say that though. This is a theory that I really want to talk about tonight at some point. But like the thing that her mom did to her is very similar to the way Baron Mordo reacts to Doctor Strange getting the job of Sorcerer Supreme. You know what I mean? So like, even though the Ancient One had a sense of some sort of, I mean, maybe it was wisdom. I guess it was, since he did save half the universe. But like, I don't know. It's interesting. She made a very different decision, but then a character like Baron Mordo did not make that decision. Baron Mordo is very offended at the fact that this young upstart who has magic beyond his age and station, or at least his station, is becoming the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I see where he's coming from, but it's the same thing as Agatha.
Yeah, exactly.
With Wanda. And I think my second favorite part of this was we always had the idea that something else helped the twins, you know, stay alive. And I really love that with Wanda. It was because she was actually a witch. But the theory that I'm working with that we kind of talked about was, especially after Agatha was explaining the different hexes and spells, specifically transmutation and the probability hex. My guess is when that bomb hit, Wanda cast the probability hex that also affected Pietro, casting transmutation on him as well. So it's kind of like Agatha said, she uses her powers on autopilot. So that's my guess.
Autopilot, but also she said so many spells cast all at once, which was to her amazing, because Agatha seems to really take focus and obviously study to be able to do like one thing at a time. And Wanda's creating an entire town all at once, and transmutation and mind control and everything else.
And she was able to do it from such a young age, if that's, if she was able to also stop the bomb and change Pietro so that he would survive or whatever without even knowing she was doing it, just opens the door for mutants. I was like, she said mutant in that word. I'm excited.
She did say mutate, yeah. The question is, and it's a huge question, if they're going to eventually retcon mutants into their origin or not. And it could just be that Wanda protected them from the fall and then protected him when he had his experience with the Mind Stone. But it also could be that they had the X gene. Like, that's very, very possible.
Yeah. It's very, like, I think that they just happened to have the X gene and that she used the probability X to stop the bomb. But that his mutant power was, it's less useful in that kind of situation other than to, like, hey, let's get out of here. I don't know, it's like there was no reason for him to use it, or there was no cause, or it wouldn't have been useful at the time.
Well, I still feel like it's even possible that he did use it.
Yeah, it could be that he
the lights kind of flash out, and then they are under the table, and it's like, did he do that, or did she do that, or some combination of both? As Ashley's mentioning, like,
well, no, the scene goes black, and then he comes in and grabs her, and then they go and hide under the bed.
Okay, do we see them? Do we see them walk from one part of the room to the other? If
I remember, or if I recall correctly, yes.
Okay. I thought it was more of like because I was looking for it when I knew it was coming. I was looking for him to do some super speed, and then I got the sense that it was vague, that I wasn't sure that he did it or not.
I wasn't sure that he had done it simply because, like, the screen went black, and it seemed that it was more sudden. Like, the thing happened, and nobody was expecting it. But
I mean, if he's Quicksilver, the thing happening,
if he's Quicksilver, he should be able to be like, there's an explosion behind me. Let me do something about this.
Yeah. I thought that it was Quicksilver pulling her from under the bed when she was going to touch it, but it was just Agatha. I was like, damn it.
Right.
I thought that was him doing his little thing.
Thought he was being like, no, don't touch it.
Man.
Right, yeah. But maybe she did it. Maybe she unknowingly changed him when they were in the Hydra facility. Like, there's so many different options it could be.
It could be after she had the experience, because they said she definitely went before him, because they said everyone that had a direct contact before that has died. So maybe she had the experience with the Mind Stone and then realized that he needed her protection in there or something. You know?
Could be.
So it could have been after all of the other stuff. Any other points you want to make, Ashley, before we dive into the listener feedback?
Not really. Just I'm pretty sure that I agree with what you guys were saying with Hayward was pushing her to see if she would put the body back together or put Vision back together. That was such a contrived scene. That whole scene looked just fake to me. Like, what a jerk.
Right?
Oh, right. Yeah, a lot of people have mentioned this.
Oh, it was totally staged.
Yeah.
What would he be doing? Like, I feel like they were like, "Oh, she's here! Everybody, quick, set him up!" Because really, it was taking you 5 years.
Places.
Yeah.
Well, he does say they took him apart and put him back together over and over again, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've taken this thing apart and put him back together so many times, but we've never been able to start him back up because we need a power source.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like theater, though, because not only is it that moment, but it's also where the body is located. It seems it's like the body is directly off of Hayward's office.
Yeah, he's like, through my viewing window, Wanda.
Yeah,
right.
Step into my office where we take apart Vision.
And then the very last thing he said, you could have been trying to keep her calm, but he purposely was like, he's not yours.
Oh, for sure.
Are you asking to die, clown face? Like, are you serious?
Yeah, and on top of that, there's still the idea that he seems to know about Wanda's powers more than she does. Like, and I think that's a huge hole in the plot right now that we don't understand. Like, why does he know that Wanda can bring back Vision? Is it just the power source thing?
It just seems like him and Agatha have been testing her. I don't feel like anybody even knows what she can do. They're just like, let's put it on the table.
They did say due to unidentified testing with the Mind Stone while in the Hydra facility, she developed powers. Like that's what they said in the recap that Jimmy Woo gave.
Right.
And it's like the government knows that it was the Mind Stone that gave her powers, and the Mind Stone is what was powering Vision. So maybe he was just making a leap to say, like, well, if she has that power, then getting some of her power into Vision will bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, it's not that far of a leap, I would say.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. It's not that far of a leap.
You know, God's come down from the sky in this world. Like, it's not the craziest thing.
He just seems like that guy who wants his toy to work, and now he got it to work, so he's going to make the perfect scenario so he gets to use it.
Yeah.
You know, town be damned.
Town be damned.
Right. Yeah.
It's exactly what Monica said. He set her up to be the villain.
Yep.
Wanda.
I'm really curious what is going to happen with White Vision. Like, who is White Vision going to be?
Just an empty, angry toaster. It's going to, those are the worst kinds. No emotion.
Empty or angry, those are two different things. Like, I'm really curious about, like, is he going to have, like, emotions just not related to the same emotions he had before? Is he going to be, like, a murder bot? Is he going to, I don't know. I know what he does in comics. He's, like, a cold, sort of just emotionless guy, right? To some degree.
Yeah. I'm going to vote with Murderbot.
I feel like Murderbot's the easiest route to go for a show like this, but it also is a pretty big departure from what they did in comics.
I'm really worried that we might have ourselves another Puente Antigua, the end of Thor, when the destroyer armor came down and started wrecking the town.
Okay.
So, like, what if White Vision is the destroyer armor in this scenario? And, like, Vision inside the Hex and Wanda and Agatha and Monica have to team up against White Vision to bring him down. But, you know, in doing so, oops, we destroyed the town and killed 3,000-ish people.
Yeah.
Does that violate the Accords?
Probably.
Well, it would be with the government's oversight because it's with the sword. So it's not even like this would be with the government's permission.
It wouldn't be, though, because like the Hex is there because of Wanda and the way that her power worked.
Sure.
From the look
so
of it.
they'd blame it on Wanda. Like when
they blame it on Wanda.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we get Dark Reign.
Yeah. Okay.
That'd be real good.
Well, let's get into, we have lots of feedback from lots of folks. Let's dive in and try to get through it.
Okay.
Pretty excited.
So, one of our patrons, Matthew Rainwater, says, I don't think Mr. Scratchy and Pietro are the same. Even though we haven't technically seen them together, Wanda was holding Mr. Scratchy in the basement while talking to Wanda, while Monica and Pietro were snooping around outside.
This is a good point.
It's a good point.
Mm-hmm. I think these are familiar.
You think Mr. Scratchy is the familiar? I agree. Now, what a familiar means in this world, I don't know. I think that this is a good point. I will say she's downstairs and then it cuts away to the credits and then it comes back and Monica's outside with Pietro. That after credit sequence could happen 2 hours later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could.
And rabbits are quick. So.
And so are Quicksilvers.
Oddly enough. You wouldn't think based on the name.
No. But I think it's a good point. It's a good point.
Another one of our patrons, Riley Dielsky, says, Hey, Matt and Jeff, a little bit of feedback for the cast, no real speculation, just something I noticed that bothered me. In episode 8 of WandaVision, when Wanda's dad pulls out the case of all of those DVDs, there's a Malcolm in the Middle DVD. Since Wanda was born in 1989 and her parents died when she was 10, putting this at 1999, that is still a whole year before Malcolm in the Middle even premiered, that being 2000. Small continuity error? I don't know. It just bothered me. Thanks, Riley.
So I've been seeing this a lot in different places and how that's a continuity error. Here's my, let me just say, headcanon Avenger to the rescue here.
Yep.
Okay.
Captain Headcanon, bring it home. Captain
Headcanon right here to appease all of the problems and continuity errors in this scene. Because there's two.
Real quick aside, that's our superhero, Captain Headcanon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you've seen Jay Scotty's drawing of Captain Headcanon. Yeah.
It's perfect.
Okay, so here's my Captain Headcanon to the rescue. Here we go. We have Wanda as a young child, this vision of her. But I don't think that it is... I think this is evidence that she's a flawed narrator. And it's further evidenced by the fact that when we see her watching Malcolm in the Middle is later with Vision. So I think that this little story that she shows to Agatha is not real life. It's like her interpretation of that story, which also solves a couple of things. It solves the problem of Pietro telling the story slightly differently. So like, I think when Wanda remembers this day, she goes, I remember being there in the house with my family, this safe place. And that safe place was epitomized by movie night or TV night. And also epitomize her safe place is Malcolm in the Middle because it's something she did with Vision. So I think throwing that Malcolm in the Middle in a later scene with Vision is connecting Vision to this like safety and home that she has. So like, it's almost like that little throwing that DVD in there is like a reference to how she feels about Vision, but also it fixes the continuity error and it fixes the continuity error with Pietro.
That's true. That's true. Mm-hmm. And Tiger Eyes in the chat says it's from the memory of a 10-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely. So over time, we build those memories up and we rewrite our memories constantly. In real life, there's tons of evidence of the fact that like we do not remember things well at all. So, and we all of our memories are memories of memories. Like we don't have you don't have memories from when you're 10. You have memories of the last time you remembered the thing that happened when you were 10. You're like telling yourself this story over and over. And like every time that happens, you can rewrite it. So yeah.
This is why I keep a very detailed diary. Every event in my day.
That's good. That's good. And you should.
And did you notice how many times Dick Van Dyke said nightmare on that? In that episode, he said it like 3 times when they were just watching that little clip.
Oh no.
Because that's what the walnut's about. It's about him like having a nightmare, and in the nightmare, inside the walnut was a gem from aliens, and it like took over the people in the town. I thought it was a really interesting. I was like, perfect episode to pick to do this. A gem from alien space.
There are no coincidences in Marvel.
That's right. That's why I think this DVD mistake, not a mistake at all. It's not a mistake at all. Comment about how she feels about Vision, and I like crap. It. It warms my heart to think of it that way. So I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Rainbow Cato says, please talk about how Vision has changed over time throughout all the MCU movies to WandaVision. He used to be just a robot, but then he learns feelings for Wanda and the kids.
And now he's a white murder bot.
He's a white murder bot. He's a Stark white murder bot. Stark white.
I see what you did there.
But also, he's a kind, feeling, emotional robot. Close enough to a man.
Yeah, that's the Banner side of him.
Inside the Hex.
That is probably the Banner side. Yeah, but then the Hex is not him at all. It's a creation. Just like that
it's a memory.
Well, just like that memory, we just talked about how memories aren't real and like memories are memories of memories. Like that recreation of Vision, it may be very close because they were very close and it wasn't that long ago, but that's still not Vision.
No, I thought she created him to be the perfect TV show husband. Like that's what he was molded from. You can even see his reflection in like the TV behind her as he's being created.
Ooh, I haven't heard that as a view of that scene, but yeah, that's true. He like as she's creating him, he's showing up in the TV.
Yeah, he's like Wanda, and she immediately turns into like her bubbly Stepford self.
Yep,
bubbly Stepford self. Yeah, exactly. This is he's never been his self this entire time. Like there are clearly glimmers of the good man that he is, but like he is also always being overwritten by these different eras of television. And I find that fascinating that the Vision that we're about to side with, it seems like, is not the Vision we've been following for all these movies. It's a whole cloth creation of a memory of Vision that is being overwritten by TV plot lines. Like, it's real weird. This show is weird.
I wonder if she could just give him back his memories.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I have been curious about is like, what happens when this white Vision enters the Hex? Like, does it change him to be Vision? Like, does it put his memories back? Does it assimilate him with the other Vision?
That's a really good question. That's a really good question, actually.
Oh, and then it's the two of them versus the ladies.
Or, like if it does assimilate him with the other Vision, which one wins? Is there a constant battle for supremacy of those two minds?
Well, you would think the white one doesn't have an Infinity Stone.
Right.
But
right.
does the red one have an Infinity Stone? Like,
I'm going with she recreated him in there, inside the Hex. I don't know about when it goes out, but in there I feel like he has one.
Right. I know it looks like one, but does it have all the power of the Mind Stone? Like, does it have all the power that the Mind Stone has? Can he, like, collect it with other stones that she creates and snap all life? Like, I don't know.
Maybe inside the Hex.
Maybe.
He was the color of the stone when she created him.
That's true.
Instead of being red.
Yeah. And it seemed like the stone energy was part of creating him for sure.
And they say that the stones pick people, like they kind of have a mind of their own. Like maybe they knew that, maybe to imprint one in Wanda so that they could, I might, blow up. Let me put a backup in here.
I don't know where do they say the stones pick people? I don't know that's in this thing.
I thought that was in the first Captain America. Like it was like the stone. I thought that's what like.
Oh, well, Red Skull in Infinity War? No.
Yeah, was it Infinity War? It was
either Infinity War or Endgame. Red Skull on Vormir is like the Space Stone rejected me. The Tesseract rejected me and sent me here.
Yeah, and like chose to go inside Jane Foster.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. That is two good points. Like two good places where the stones seem to have a will of their own.
Because it like presented itself to her when she went in there. It was like, oh, look at you little witch. Oh,
game recognized game, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but it also doesn't seem to have full control of that because it also was attained by Thanos and then used to wipe out half of life, unless that was part of...
With the gauntlet, I thought that's what the whole point of the gauntlet was, that controlled them. I don't know.
I think the gauntlet is to like bring their powers together and to allow one being to hold them.
I don't know.
I don't know, though. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. In order to wield them all simultaneously. Melissa Khalil says the Soul Stone has a certain wisdom, is what Red Skull also said.
Oh, yeah. See, I remember him. The Soul Stone does get to choose. Like, the Soul Stone is listening to your heart as you give up your loved one. Like, that's a whole thing.
And he also said the Space Stone rejected him. So apparently they got a little idea of what's going on.
Or at least Red Skull thinks so.
Yeah. He's imprinting human emotion onto very inanimate objects. Like the pencil that keeps rolling off the table. Like, you asshole pencil, stop it.
Right. No. The Soul Stone is his Wilson. He's been stranded on that planet so long. He's just made the Soul Stone, and the whole cliff is his Wilson. He just talks to it.
No.
He's like, I used to know an Infinity Stone back home. His name was Dr. Spaulding.
That's so stupid. That's so stupid.
Icarus says if the Mind Stone was created, it would explain the CMBR.
Yeah, because they were remnants of the Big Bang. The Big Bang sent these fragments of creation across the universe.
Yeah, we've circled around to this before, but still, her power is also from an Infinity Stone. So her power in itself, at least it was enhanced by it. So her power being used in this way might be creating CMBR just by being her power.
Mm-hmm.
Here's an interesting question. Like, I hate to keep bringing up the Infinity Stones.
It's like we're done with them, and then we keep bringing them up.
Like, we're done with the Infinity Saga, but let's talk more about the Mind Stone. Like, if Wanda has to give up Vision, does that qualify her for the Soul Stone? Does Vision have a soul? A soul for a soul?
I would think it probably would, but I don't know. Like, if the Soul Stone would agree with me. And they're pretty opinionated, as we've recently learned.
They are pretty opinionated. The soul stone or the Infinity Stones are just real catty. Like, I don't know. You think he really loved her?
Okay.
I don't know why. I don't know why it had to have like a Real Housewives kind of accent or voice on it.
I loved this. This was from Elizabeth Sartor in the Stranded Panda chat posted the other day. My kid just finished episode 8 and yelled, "What the feige?"
Aw.
I don't know what the age of your kid is, but they're awesome. That's amazing. I love it. I love it so much.
Great.
Actually, this gave me an idea, and I meant to have it more planned out before now, so I could mention it on the cast. And I guess I do have it planned out, and here it is.
Wow. I like it.
I just formulated it and finished it in my head. So I had this idea after Elizabeth wrote that in the other day, that what if we tried to capture all of this Panda's reaction to the show live. So here's my idea. We're going to do our live watch on Friday at 8 a.m. like we've been doing with Senior. And I'm going to start a Zoom call. Okay? And anyone that wants to join that Zoom call, join the Zoom call and like use your phone so you can turn it all the way down, but we can still hear you. And I'm going to record the Zoom call while we watch it. So we'll have like a live reaction that I can play of a bunch of people reacting to WandaVision. I think it sounds like fun. I'll go on there. I had a bunch of people said they were down for it. So so if you want to be involved in that, come at 8 a.m. for the regular Senior watch, and I'll put a Zoom link, and you can go on your phone, click on Zoom, and just set your phone up and just let it record or let it watch, and I'll record it from my end. That way, I'll have like a reaction video. My idea was like, I miss those like in the theater experiences, like when Endgame has a big moment. You know what I mean?
So or like when Bring Me Thanos happened and everybody in the theater screamed.
Yes, or when you see him dual wielding Mjolnir and Mjolnir and the shield. Like I was thinking that would be a really cool thing. And so if any of the pandas out there who are listening to this podcast, or any of the listeners of this podcast, in case you don't know, we're the Stranded Panda Network, we call people pandas, want to come and do the 8 a.m. thing, we're going to film. We're going to try to film the Zoom call and get everybody going like, oh my gosh. And then I'll cut it down. I'll edit it so it's just like the really big moments where everybody's going like, oh my gosh, oh no, well, whatever. Yeah. I don't know.
An embarrassment reaction.
And if you can't be there at 8 a.m. and you want to set up your own phone and record, do that. Just make sure the sound is on and that you record from beginning to end. That way I can line it up easy. Because if I get like 16 different moments from different people, it's going to be really hard to line all those videos up. But if I have audio and I can just line it up, I can do that. So
yeah, I'll probably use OBS to get one for you.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That would be really great.
I know this about myself. I'm going to stay up until the episode comes out.
Oh, well, I was actually going to I was thinking we might do another one of the Zoom calls when it comes out. And let other people do the Senior at 2 a.m., 2 or 2:30 or whenever. Because I've heard at 2, it's really hard to get on.
It's the finale. Let's do it. We need to do it for the finale. You heard it here, folks.
Okay, so 2:30 a.m. we'll have a Senior going.
Central Time.
And Jeff will set up Zoom and record Zoom. So he'll handle all that. And then at 8 a.m. we'll all be there. I'll be there to do the 8 a.m. stream. And I'll record Zoom. And then we'll have two full Zoom grid views. And I'll be able to edit it all. That's the plan. So we'll be talking about it in the Stranded Panda chat. And we'll probably send out an email and all that stuff. So
yeah, get your jammies on. We're having a sleepover.
Yeah. And we'll have time to set it up before we actually hit play. So
bring your favorite stuffy or a pillow or something. You're also likely going to need a box of tissues. It's going to be a tearjerker, I'm betting.
I'm probably going to end up staying up with you. I just know it. And I shouldn't, because then I'll be shitty on the podcast the next morning. But man, I want to stay up and watch it with you. Okay. So 2 Senior parties this Friday instead of 1. 2 a.m.
Heck yeah.
2 a.m. where we'll probably wait till 2:15 or so to start it, because I've heard 2 a.m. nobody can watch it because it keeps freezing. Is that right? That's what I've been hearing.
Yeah, basically. There's so many people online that are trying to watch it all at the same time because it's a really freaking popular show. Like, our download numbers have shown that.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Thank you everybody for joining. All the new listeners, you guys are freaking awesome. We've never hit these download numbers unless it was a movie that came out. And this is
every
like a movie.
week.
Yeah, every week it's getting bigger and bigger because there's just such good content happening, and appreciate all you guys wanting to join in the conversation. Okay, sorry, that was my idea. I wanted to I put that partially put that feedback in the thing so I'd remember to throw that out there. So we'll be talking in the Stranded Panda chat. There is a link in the show notes to the Stranded Panda chat on Facebook. Click on that, and we'll be talking about it and stuff. In case you have trouble finding it, I'll put my senior link in the thing too, and yours, Jeff.
Okay,
that'll work. Okay, next feedback.
All right, RedAgs1 on YouTube says, has it been mentioned that Nexus was in Age of Ultron? It was the internet hub in Oslo where Tony finds Jarvis, stopping Ultron from getting the nuclear codes. And put in quotes here the Tony line, "Oh, I'm decrypting nuclear codes and you don't want me to."
So I don't remember if we've talked about this in the cast, have we?
Probably not.
I've seen it around, and I know I've talked to people about it on the Stranded Panda chat, but like I couldn't remember if we've actually had this conversation. I love this because the idea, I know it's like unlikely, but like at this point, even now, the Nexus and like all of this could still be like a technological thing that's going on. Like there's still like the slight possibility because like even the Nexus is a connection to that, you know?
Yeah.
Like if they wanted to in this last episode, this would be bad, although it would connect with that Dick Van Dyke episode, but this would be bad. No one would like it. I don't think it's a good idea. I'm not saying it's a good idea, but that's my disclaimer. But she could wake up from a Skrull simulation at the end of this, you know, and Agatha was part of the simulation and the Nexus, and it was all her like decoding Vision's consciousness from the Nexus or whatever, like, and maybe the commercials or the parts of the real world that are creeping in or something like that.
I hate it.
It's real bad.
I hate it.
I said
the only thing that would be worse than that is if it was all in a fucking snow globe.
Tommy Westfall universe, everybody.
Although I do want a Hex snow globe now.
Oh, yeah, I like it.
Me too.
Like the Hex inside. Like maybe like a see-through version of the Hex to where you can see the town inside, and then trees and landscape all around it.
And when you shake it, it's like
when you shake it, it resets reality.
Yeah.
Oh, I need one of those.
Little red wiggly woos instead of snow.
Oh yeah.
I could not get over how much magic was in this. Her explaining like the runes and the different spells to her, and then the callbacks to Thor Ragnarok, because he had to use the hair to get Thor to Odin, and she needed to use Wanda's hair to get her through that portal door. I loved it.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome. I really was like watching this episode. I texted you as soon as the episode was over. I was like, Ashley, I want to watch this episode with you. Like, can we hang out and watch this episode? Because you are just, I didn't say all that, but I was like, I just knew that you would have like a great reaction. I almost said like, you should film yourself watching this episode because you're going to just go like, oh my gosh.
I was losing my mind. I said to Ken after I was like, oh, Matt actually said he was watching with me. I bet it's going to be witchy.
Damn, sorry. I was trying not to spoil you.
I was excited. So we had to be. We're here. We're at the end of the line, people.
Yep.
We are. I'm with you till the end of the line. Ashley always texts me like early in her workday. She's like, "Oh my god, it's so boring today." So was today's episode another snore? Like, another snorgasm? I'm like, yeah. You probably shouldn't even watch it.
Yeah,
probably shouldn't even talk to anybody about it. Don't think about it.
The show is over. Yeah, I wouldn't even. All downhill since episode 1.
Yeah, I'm just trying to really, keep her expectations low so that she's not chomping at the bit to leave work, because it's already bad enough. Like she's already got those emotions in there of like, I don't want to be here right now.
I know. And then add like the Twitch thing pops up and you guys are like, oh, 2 a.m., 2:30. I'm like, cool, I have to get up in like 2 hours for work. That's never going to work. And I respect this show too much to give it that much of a disservice to watch it at 2 and then have to go to work. No.
I might go to sleep at like 4 p.m. so that I can wake up and watch it at like 2 a.m. and not not die the next day.
Yeah, take a nap.
Yeah.
It's a nice little mid-afternoon nap. Little afternoon delight. That's different.
That's different, yeah.
Whoa.
Matt Roberts from Manchester.
Ooh.
Good transition, Jeff. You're the best. Awesome.
The
High
best.
five. Matt Roberts from Manchester says, looks like my Agatha theory about her being the villain because Wanda needed her to be was way off the mark. It was, in fact, Agatha all along. Who knew? I have a query more than a theory this week. How is it that it took S.W.O.R.D. around 5 years to get Vision's body and pull it apart, potentially very slowly, and then only a couple of weeks or maybe even a matter of days as it looks like Wanda drove straight to Westview from the S.W.O.R.D. complex to create a whole new version of Vision? Anyone able to headcanon that one for me? I suppose maybe Hayward could simply have been putting on a show for Wanda and keeping some things hidden from her and us.
It's either just kind of sloppy or it's his putting a show on for her.
Yeah, I 100% think that it's him putting a show on. It's an operating theater, and it is a theater.
Yeah, it feels like theater for sure.
What was your guys' theories about the envelope, though? Because that was also part of his question. Like, why would she go right to Westview? Like, where did that envelope come from?
I don't know. It was in her passenger seat, and it looked like it was open, right?
I thought
When we
that
first
was
saw
the deed, right?
It was.
Yeah,
It was the
I
deed.
know, but just like what? He bought her a plot of land in New Jersey out of nowhere. Like, how would he even know how to do that? And I'm sorry, but Wanda did that town a huge favor. Did you see it?
Well, I
To be fair,
the idea, I think, is that way back when, before, like when he was in Infinity War, when he's asking her to stay with him, he had already bought the land and had left it to her in the case of his death or whatever.
I would like to know who helped him with that.
What do you mean? He's Vision. He's like a super intelligent Vision
Then
bot.
why would he? Okay, I don't want to sound bad. I love New Jersey. I go there all the time. But why would you pick New Jersey?
It's like
I
close
love
to
New
York,
Jersey, but I
not.
want to say I hate New Jersey.
I don't hate New Jersey.
In the Vision and the Scarlet Witch comic, when they move to New Jersey, it's a particular town that they move to that, like at the beginning of the comic, it's like this town is known for being a haven for suits and people who want to get away from the big city but still be kind of close to the big city, and like the people who have money and want to live outside live here and work in the financial district or whatever. And I'm like,
Okay.
That
cute.
town was run down though. Like it was really.
It was just after 5 years of Snap.
It's true.
Everything was run down.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
It also
Just saying.
was just like most towns in America. Like it to me, it just felt like middle America, like not the big city. Like everything's pretty like, it's a little bit older town, smaller town, not as big incomes there and stuff.
Did you see what that billboard turned into when she did it? It turned into the Lagos ad saying "Make cleaning a snap."
Yep.
Lagos. Man, the thing that I keep focusing on in the town is when Harold Copter was stapling up his piano lessons advertisement. Like everybody just came back, like 2.5 weeks ago, maybe, and this is your focus. this is
gotta make money.
Hey, listen,
is that you're wanting to start piano lessons up?
Listen, I'm a musician. We don't make much money. I'm in the middle of a global pandemic right now, and I still got to peddle my music.
Yep,
It's like
that's fair.
it's a thing, man. You gotta keep the lights on.
That's true. There's a lot of things that had to go on to keep the lights on. I had to give out piano lessons.
That's what Hayward was talking about.
Yeah. You don't know what it takes to keep the lights on. I had to take piano lessons from Harold Copter, of all people. Oh, that's real silly. Noob Freak on Twitter said, Adams UCast, hey guys, one thing I was wondering from the latest WandaVision episode was how did Agatha live for so long? I have 2 theories to answer this. First, when she killed the other witches, she actually absorbed their life force, and that's how she could live so long. My second theory which I like much more, to be honest, is what if Agatha was drawing power from the dark dimension? It was established in the first Doctor Strange film that when the Ancient One used the power from the dark dimension to stay alive for centuries after her appropriate time for dying, if Agatha is a servant of someone like Dormammu, this would make a lot of sense, and it would tie into Doctor Strange even more, which I love. Anyway, thanks for the great show, and keep on with the awesome content.
Yeah, those are the two things that I came to my mind too. And mostly it's the idea that, like, thinking about the Ancient One and how she lived so long, I think that's absolutely a possible way that she's staying alive. And that could lead to, I don't know about in the comics, and then even if it is different in the comics, I don't know if it'll be different in the movies, but like, is it only Dormammu in the dark dimension that she can draw that power from to stay old or stay young, or are there other sources of power that she could be using, you know?
Like in the dark dimension?
Or just anywhere.
Just anywhere.
The idea of Mephisto, for instance, like, does this give us a clue that she might be working with Dormammu or whatever? You know what I mean? Like,
or Nightmare.
Well, that's my question. Is it any?
It could be.
I think it definitely could be. It definitely could be like any dark dimension or like hell dimension. It's even like in the Sith, you know, you draw power from the dark side, you can live forever, kind of thing.
Yeah, Darth Plagueis, the wise.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would say that at this point, the door is still wide ass open on potential Mephistos or Dormammus or Nightmares or any other multiversal extraplanar thing.
Absolutely.
But it's also still just like entirely possible that it was Agatha all along.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards that all of this. Well, I guess I'll say my theory that I've been kicking around, and I like it a lot. I don't think I've mentioned this on the cast. I think I kind of played with the idea last week, but I really like the idea that Agatha is from the witch trials. So I like the idea that, like, her origin story is from the time of the witch trials, and maybe she would have a desire to stop persecution of witches and magical people, you know?
Yeah.
And if that's the case, like, that's part of her origin story. It's part of who she is as a being. And so she wants to stop persecution of magical people. And who do we know right now that is in the MCU trying to kill all sorcerers or like stop all sorcerers from existing? Baron Mordo. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So we take Mordo, and like, then if we think that, then we think about Ralph, and Ralph also their anniversary being June 2nd, that's when the witch trials started. So it's possible like this is like, maybe she even picked up the book. Maybe that's why she was searching for dark spells. Maybe that's why her coven got rid of her, is because when the witch trials started, she was like, screw this baby stuff about like learning how to do wiggly woos. I want to learn the stuff that'll actually protect my sisters. You know what I mean? And then it ended up leading her to killing her own sisters. But then maybe that's still something she cares about, like protecting magical people from persecution or, you know, death or depowering, in which case, like, I think this could lead to Baron Mordo showing up at the end of this thing, as like a big bad that Agatha is searching for power to stop, which would mean like that's why she came after this power source that she's felt. It's because she's trying to stop Baron Mordo from continuing on. And maybe Ralph represents her like connection to a dark creature like Mephisto, or maybe Ralph was an actual like warlock who Baron Mordo got to first, you know?
Could have been.
Like maybe she was like in connection with Ralph way back when, and now she's now Ralph has been either killed or depowered by Baron Mordo, and now she's like out for revenge and using Wanda as a tool for that revenge, I guess.
Yeah, it could have been. I don't know that we're necessarily going to get Baron Mordo in this series. There's still a lot of work to do. Like, if they're going to get Agatha back to anti-hero status or, dark hero or, bad person doing bad things for the sake of good, in whatever complex pathos they want to go with, like there's still a lot of work to bring her to the light side, so to speak.
Well, I don't think you need to bring her to the light side to give her good pathos,
Well, I mean, in order to make her that tortured hero, or to bring her onto the side of fighting against Morta, there's a lot of work that still needs to go on. Because right now they've painted her as a big villain.
See, I don't think you have to be a villain or like a hero to be against other heroes. You know what I mean? Like they never really bring Loki fully to the side of good, but he definitely fights alongside them throughout the series. I mean, you could make a case at the beginning of Endgame, he's actually trying.
But Loki has gone through what 3-4 movies to get to the point of, or 3 movies, 2 movies to get to the point of when he fights alongside somebody. Like he's done work. She hasn't gotten that amount of work. I'm not saying
we're going to rehab the character. I'm just saying you could reveal more about her intentions. Like revealing more about her intentions doesn't rehab the character. Doesn't mean she didn't try to kill the kids or she didn't try to kill or didn't kill Sparky or whatever. It just means that like she had a deeper purpose behind her villainy.
The work is getting us on her side, even the slightest amount to see like, oh yeah, maybe she was doing a good thing.
I think that takes a 2-minute flashback.
Well, the question is, did Vision accidentally buy a plot of land next to an already there portal-ridden witch basement, or did she put that in there?
I found you a teacher. She lives here. Here's a plot of land next door so that you can go see her real quick.
Convenient access to portal witch basements.
Right? That was on the description for the property.
Yeah, for superhero realtors. Yeah.
Yeah, high value property right there. It's just next door to the Nexus of all reality. Easy access to Nexus of all realities, like easy interstate access.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, do we think that Agatha built that in her however many days that they were there, or was that already there and it just happened to be something else that drove? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. How long has she had there? Because also we know it's been some sort of time warp because Vision and Wanda are living day after day to create these episodes, while outside in the real world, it's only been a couple of days, maybe. It seems like they've lived through decades of time in a way. And they've leapt forward, but they've also had episodes and episodes in each time period, it seems like. So like, yeah, I don't know how long she's actually had. She could be in sort of a pocket dimension where she's had a year and a half to make that basement ready to attack Wanda.
That'd be some dark dimension power.
That would be some good stuff.
And I love that her house was the bewitched house, like the little details.
Right. That's so good. I'd heard that. Yeah, the actual house that she uses in the show for her house is the bewitched house from Bewitched or whatever. That's so fun.
That's good stuff.
That's so good.
The way that it seems like they brought in Agatha when she first showed up, is it like I got the feeling that she sensed the power being broadcast to the world and then went, I'm going to go investigate that, and then came into the hex from outside.
That's the sense I got too.
But like shielded herself from it and, kind of played along once she got there. She was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. Let me change my aesthetic, and, did up her whole thing.
Yeah, she literally lands in that first scene. She like lands down like freaking Mary Poppins. You could really see that like she's coming to town. Like Agatha's here.
Agatha is coming to town. Oh yeah.
Chaos magic. I love it. She's like, so much was used. Like, of course I would come running. I have to see how you did this. Like, what's going on? This is really weird. Now I got to know how you did it, but I'll play along for a couple days. Yeah. It was just so good.
She was like, I was so patient with you. Like, it sounds like she's been waiting around forever. But like, it's only been a few days. Come on.
Right. And that's the thing. It might be that's the reason she was playing along so much. If she was, and I think this is the case, but the question is like, she's preparing things. Maybe that basement was there, but she like did some magic to like create those doorways to whatever other dimension she needs, and she put up those runes
protection.
Like she's probably spent the last, even if it is just a 10-day period or something, maybe she spent those 10 days preparing her basement for like the final battle to get Wanda's attention or whatever, or to trap Wanda.
She did say she was trying to gently nudge her out of it. She did help her work through her problems, though.
Yeah.
She did take the therapy part. She mentored her a little bit. We kind of got a little bit of everything from Agatha in this one.
Yeah.
Let's see. So anybody, let's turn to the live chat for a minute. If you got anything, Ashley.
Okay. Folded Sandwich says, do y'all believe that Vision will have Spader's voice?
Ooh.
I want him to real bad, but I don't think
That would be so awesome.
And to piggyback off that, Lane says, does the cast have a theory of whose voice White Vision will have? I think it's just going to sound like him.
I think it's going to be Bettany. I think it's going to be another version of Bettany. Bettany has been, I think, a real standout star in this season. Like the way he has been every different version of him, the Dick Van Dyke version and the Bryan Cranston version. And like he's stepped through all these different and just done such a good job. The 90s version of him, like all those have been awesome. I mean, the 80s version of him, the Who's the Boss years. All that stuff has been freaking awesome. And I think that they're going to give him one more thing to do, which is like this cold White Vision.
You know, like it would be, I mean, it's obviously going to be cheaper on production to put his voice on it than to like have him lip sync to James Spader's voice.
Right. And that honestly, that will look really weird. Like I think our brains won't do well with James Spader's voice coming out of Vision's body because we know what Vision sounds like. It would be really strange.
But wouldn't it be really cool if White Vision had James Spader's voice, the Ultron voice, and then like Vision inside the Hex Vision, if you will, got assimilated into White Vision, and then both of their voices were combined to make a new voice.
Sure.
Or like we got the duality of their tone, kind of like a Dragon Ball Z fusion voice kind of thing.
Yeah, it would not surprise me at all if they did something like give him vocal tics that are similar to what they did with Ultron. You know what I mean? Like if he used similar language or some sort of like cue that he is like more Ultron than he is Vision. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oof. Okay, Drew Greach says, final prediction. Agatha clearly wants to be the Scarlet Witch, so she is the one who's going to set the events of No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness in motion. They've been hinting that Wanda is the villain of Doctor Strange 2 for so long that it has to be a Scarlet herring.
Good one, Drew. Good one.
I don't know that Agatha necessarily wants to be the Scarlet Witch. I think that she, like, from what I took it to be in the episode, it looked like that she was surprised.
Yeah, it was an aha moment for her.
It was that, oh shit, you're the Scarlet Witch.
I do think she's jealous of the power. It seems to me that there's no way she can be the Scarlet Witch. It seems like something that...
It's lore, which is just awesome.
Mm-hmm. I don't think she, at least has, as of yet, figured out that there's a way to like steal that power from Wanda. I do think that she is impressed and would love to have Wanda's power, though.
Yeah. That's why at the end, when she has the kids, she's like, I know what's going on here now.
Yeah. Like, I get it now.
That's all she wanted to do. Yeah, is figure out what was up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, like the feeling that I got from it is that she not only was intimidated by the amount of power that Wanda has, but also a little frightened of like, you're out of control, lady. Like,
yeah,
because you can, because you have probability control and, the ability to create and destroy literally anything on a whim. You gotta be put, like, you need a muzzle. Like,
yeah. Well, why would she bring her out of the basement then? That's my question. Like, if you're in control, like, that doesn't seem like the best idea.
Did she?
Like, you're in a really good spot.
Oh yeah, no, she does.
Yeah, they were in the street at the end.
Yeah,
at the end. That's right. I'm trying to think. Like, through all those visions, they go through that door. I'm assuming while they were in those visions, she still had control of some sort. Like, she was still in the basement. But yeah, I don't know at the end.
She definitely had the red things in her, her red magic in her hand. Her chaos magic, we can say it now.
It's true. It's true.
Yep.
Any other feedbacks there? Ash?
Our Breeze says, every time Wanda has faced grief, her power's enhanced. I think the loss of Vision and her kids in the finale is going to give her so much she unlocks the multiverse, which leads into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
I think that's a really good idea because, this episode showed us every time she has a big, horrible thing happen, she increases in power. And now, it's very possible.
How dark are they going to go? Because we're talking about the loss of the kids at this point, right? Do you think with Agatha having the threads around the kids' throats, are they going to behead children in the next episode?
I mean, that'd be terrible.
They did do that.
I mean, it could be that she yanks on it and they just disappear from existence because they aren't real, quote unquote, because Wanda kind of just created them from nothing.
This is something that I think ties into the idea of rehabbing Agatha's character, because one of the things that we think about Agatha right now is that she's willing to threaten these kids, like with hanging them basically by her magic. She's also willing to kill a dog. If we early on in the episode establish the fact that these are not real, at least according to her, but they are to Wanda, you know what I mean? Like that, like these items that she's been doing are not actually real to her. And then that might give us kind of like a little bit of a way to understand the death of these children that is like, oh no, these are just a fantasy. And Wanda needs to understand, like if Monica starts to understand these are a fantasy and she goes to Wanda and begs her, no, you have to understand these are just a fantasy. These aren't real. Like nothing that the things you're holding on to aren't real. And that's not going to stop Wanda's grief, but it could give us a lens to look at the show that isn't nearly as dark. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just a simulation falling apart.
The spontaneous creation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is like the thing that we're going to have to really establish that the kids aren't real and none of this is real is that Vision is also not real.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And having to give up Vision as well as giving up the kids, like that's going to break her.
Here we go. Here's how the story ends.
Throw it at me. Throw it at me.
All that stuff we just said happens. They realize
they behead children.
All a simulation. They behead children.
Yep.
Cats and dogs are living together.
All those things happen.
But Wanda refuses to accept it. Because Monica's going to come into this. She's kind of been our hero. She's been our like hero into the story, like going into this place. So like Monica's trying to convince her it's all not real. You have to let go. She connects with her over her mother's death. Like you have to let go. It's like of the grief and like let Vision go and let the children go. And the children are gone, but they're not real. Like, and Vision isn't real either. And you're holding on to him and it's hurting so many other people. And then Wanda's like, maybe like realizes it's true, but still her grief. And she like breaks open the multiverse to go find the people that she loves out in the multiverse somewhere.
A version of them that exists.
And then the hex disappears and the Westview is saved. And then on the ground is Vision still there.
Ooh. I like it.
He was created by a different kind of magic, it appeared. You know, like the whole town, maybe it'll all disappear. All that transmutation might disappear, but maybe whatever she did to create Vision might be real. Or
because White Vision went in there, the hex collapses onto him and we get regular Vision back.
That's possible. That's possible.
And the personality and everything goes smashing into him.
Or just like Jarvis and Ultron fighting in Age of Ultron, we have sort of like an AI fight where fake Vision is able to take it off. Fake Vision is able to take his body back, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's best case scenario.
And then
America Chavez punches a hole through reality.
Nah, man. White Vision comes in. Red Vision and White Vision go out at each other. White Vision isn't evil, and even Vision's like, I don't want to hurt you. You are special, and I don't want to hurt you. Just like he did to Ultron. And then he like goes at it. They go at it. They fight, and then his AI takes over White Vision's AI, and he becomes the real Vision. And then he says, "Had to kill the other guy." And then it's James Spader's voice for some reason.
Bum, ba, 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 ba.
I like it.
And then when we get into Multiverse of Madness, we have Doctor Strange hearing tale of other realities, other verses throughout the multiverse collapsing, and it turns out that Wanda that we know has become Lore, hunting for her children.
Oh, see, that's the other thing is like, what if it's her children? Like, what if it's her children that go away or whatever?
Ooh. Spark Sam said, what if the kids give each other the look and grow up again to get another level in their powers in the finale? I'd like that.
Very possible.
Yeah.
And we're forgetting something. This is all for the children.
For the children.
So yeah. I was saying that thing about Vision maybe being real, but what if it really is that like she birthed those children? Like, there's some form they are corporeal because they were like birthed of her.
Yeah,
right.
I think so.
Ashley, how badly do you want that White Vision panel where he's looking at the kids and it's just like, the man you know as your father is not me. I am not your father.
Yeah, I feel, oh God, they can't do that though, because that means other Vision's not going to make it. I can't deal with the stress.
Like, what if they just run into him though? Like, if they're just walking around and he's just like...
And they're like, Dad, and they're like, I am not your father.
I am not your father. Like,
I really want Agatha to be like, White Vision comes in and he's all real dark and broody. And he's like, you're in the wrong genre, honey. You belong in like True Detective.
And then we get the next season of WandaVision is where they're doing another
genre.
Another genre of TV.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. I know you probably got some more. Do you, Ash, real quick?
Yeah, did you want me to? Okay, speed round. Greg Poole says, theory, I think there's a good chance that Hex Vision is destroyed. White Vision goes against Sword and becomes the new Vision, but with no memories, and Wanda, the kids, etc., and has no emotions like in the comics, and thus setting off the events that lead to Doctor Strange 2, No Way Home, while Agatha tries to help Wanda control / become the full Scarlet Witch. Pretty much kind of like what I'm worried about. Our Vision.
Real heartbreaking.
Yeah. It just depends. Are they Multiverse of Madness spelling out mom makes me feel like it's got to do something about that story is going to really tie in to her and the children. And I just don't know how tragic they're going to go. Is she going to be a hero that's after her children that were stolen by the evil sorceress Agatha? Or like, is she going to be a villain tearing apart universes to find her children? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh man, that would be such a great call to Lore though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I would love that so much.
Mm-hmm.
Speed round. I have 3 more and they're short. Okay. Elegant Bean says, do you think Pietro will continue on in the MCU?
I want him to.
Me too.
Let me just say Elegant Bean. That's a wonderful name. And I hope so. I really hope that we get this version of Quicksilver. I want to at least see him do one of those great X-Men scenes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? In this show.
Yeah. I really want it.
That would be so awesome. I mean, they've got the production value right there. Mm-hmm. It's right in front of you. You just got to take it.
Do it.
Pick that low-hanging fruit.
Okay, Melissa says, do we think Wanda can see the commercials? Do we think we'll ever get an explanation on those?
Probably not.
I'm still going with her traumas.
I feel like it's all a part of her trauma. Like the shark saying, like, the Yo Magic is the food for survivors, and the kid dies because he can't access Yo Magic. Like when Agatha says, "Oh, that's a good call." When Agatha says, like, the Infinity Stone amplified what would have otherwise died on the vine, that's the Infinity Stone unlocking her magic. It's opening the container for her and handing it to her.
Yeah.
Good call. Good call, Jeff. Good job. High five.
High five. Zombies for Prez says, other than Magneto and Charles, who would be your top pick to bring from the X-Men Foxverse after Pietro?
X-23. That little girl was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was.
And she'd be perfect in Young Avengers. She'd be a few years older. Like we get a random multiverse girl with just badass feet knives.
Feet knives. Wouldn't you love it to see that little girl do the Wolverine thing where she just like stops, looks around, and goes.
Yeah, I feel like
does that sniff.
I think we saw that a little bit in She kind of had those instincts and stuff in Logan a little bit, right?
I think so, a little bit, but like stopping the team.
Little thing.
Yeah, it's stopping the team and acting all feral. And
yeah, her leading a team and having like the legacy of Logan within her, like, you know, it's like I don't know that Hugh Jackman's going to come back, although he might. There's some rumors, but like, I don't know that Hugh Jackman will ever come back, but it would be kind of cool to have that little callback to the best of the X-Men movies, Logan, like the one that if it was real in this universe, I wouldn't mind at all. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, though, is that movie was such a swan song for him and for Professor X. Like, I don't know that either of them are going to come back because that was such a good send off for both of them.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Like, damn you for being so good.
We got lots more feedback to talk about, and you guys can keep sending it in for the live chat. We're going to cut to a commercial real quick that we have no control over. We'll be right back. And we're back. Jeff,
you never let me do the high vibrato anymore.
Oh, sorry. I'll hit the bass line next time. And we're back.
Not even here.
And we're back.
Okay, so we're going to basically need to get into speed round, right? Like we got a few pages left of feedback, and we do want to get to as much as we can.
Well, getting the voice ready for speed round. Let me hydrate. This is gonna take it out of me.
I'm out of hydration.
Good hydration.
I'm picking up good hydration. Me. RecoJet says WandaVision feedback. Not sure why it's just hitting me now or why I've never heard anyone else say it, but I'm actually highly disappointed in how Cap, Bruce, Nat, and Thor handled Vision's death. As soon as we realized that he ended up in S.H.I.E.L.D.'s hand, not sure how they're connected in this universe, but we should have asked how any of them could let that happen. Even if you believe they had fine intentions, there's no good excuse to allow it. They either left him there alone in the battlefield or they handed their friend and teammate over to certainly be tampered with. Not saying I'm upset with the story or any of that, but I do hope that the negligence of the original group is addressed. Also, what does the confirmation that Wanda is a literal witch say, if anything, about her possible mutant status? I could assume, with power like that Agatha seemed to imply the witch power is genetic and that either Wanda's mother or Wanda herself inadvertently gave Pietro the seeds of his future powers in the womb if they chose not to go the mutant route. Really been enjoying the cast all season long.
Thank you, RecoJet, and good job, Jeff. That was a very fast read.
Preach on that. All of what he said.
All of those things.
Yeah.
There was that TikTok video that somebody posted in the Stranded Panda chat on Facebook, which you all listening should be a part of because awesome.
It's in the show notes. Join the Stranded Panda chat.
Yeah, but there was that TikTok video that somebody posted where the person was like, okay, so all of these people, and like points up to a picture of the whole group and is like, how did they let this happen? Like, how did they let Vision get to the point of being an experiment at that point? Like, it's all their fault. It's their fault, the whole thing. And like before that video, I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad at all about it, but now I'm mad.
I agree that it sucks and it's bad that they let it happen, but do we even know exactly how it happened? Like, we know how, like, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they had the 084s, right? Like, they would send them off in a rocket ship that was supposed to be going into the sun, but it was really
and then they just held on to them?
Yeah, it was really going off to a Hydra facility. Like, that was a plot line in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Well, that could be this, where, like, they think he's been sent to a safe facility with S.H.I.E.L.D., and really he's being studied at S.W.O.R.D. And yeah, I don't know. Or maybe it's because maybe it's something Vision agreed to. You know, he did sign the Sokovia Accords. Maybe he agreed to be studied. They said he never wanted to be used as a weapon, but I don't know. Maybe he wanted to be studied. I don't know.
Melissa says She thinks that under the Sokovia Accords, the body of any powered person is the property of the UN, and they trusted Sword, given Vision is a sentient being.
Right. Yeah.
Or maybe Sword was a group of people that, because it said sentient weapon in the name, they were like, well, maybe they can work on getting him back online. Like, maybe they overpromised and undersold, trying to get Vision back online, and instead of being able to bring him back online, they were able to just create a worse version of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like maybe the whole plan, maybe honestly they have good intentions. Like maybe they want to bring Vision back. They want to bring the hero that is Vision back. And maybe even when Hayward brings Wanda in there and tries to set her off, he's trying to power him up. He's like, I want to bring Vision back. The Vision, the one who like helped fight Thanos, the Avenger. Let's get him back. The one who stopped Ultron.
He should have just asked her just like that.
Just say it. Just say it, asshole. Yeah. Instead of trying to play her.
Because he's not. I hope that they get like the Wish version of Vision and he comes out just not being able to work at all.
I don't know. It could be that he had for good reason. I definitely don't think that he like wants what Wanda wants. You know what I mean? Like he definitely he doesn't trust Wanda. He thinks she's a terrorist. He doesn't want what she wants, but maybe he did want to intend to like create the Vision again so that he could serve humanity again like he was doing. But apparently he didn't care enough to create Vision's personality again. Well, we don't know. We don't know what this White Vision's going to be exactly. We just know from the comics what White Vision might signify.
Our next piece of feedback is also related to this, so I'll just throw it out there so that maybe we can generate some more talk, right?
Yeah,
so hard for us to do.
Actually, Real said, hey guys, long-time listener, one thing bugged me about the body. So when Vision died in Wakanda, didn't the Avengers take the body? He technically belongs to Tony, or he was a fellow Avenger, so he was a teammate first, robot second. When Tony came back, didn't he want the body? It was Jarvis's embodiment and an incredibly powerful, rare specimen. He was always afraid of his tech getting into the wrong hands. How did Sword get him? I doubt the Avengers, left him in the woods, especially with Steve right there. He would have made sure that Vision was at least taken off the field. I don't find it plausible that the Avengers just gave him up. Keep up the great work, guys.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to imagine that they picked him up and took him out of there. And Outfluence actually says in the chat, after the snap, Monica's mom was still alive and in charge of Sword, so maybe Sword was still trustworthy then because Fury did trust her.
That's true. But Fury wasn't around during the snap.
Sure, but still, it could be that Maria was trustworthy. And
by proxy, yeah.
Yeah.
Fury trusted you. Well, shit, Carol was there. Carol came back.
Yeah.
Like, Steve would have taken the body of Vision off the field because he was right there, and you don't just leave people out like that. And so Vision would have been back in an Avengers facility, and because Carol came back, she would have known Maria and probably would have vouched for Maria because Maria knew Fury and Carol knew Fury and Maria knew they all know each other, and Carol would have been like, yeah, she's good. And so that would have been enough for them to be like, sure, yeah.
That's all like you're talking like after the fact, but it seems like all of the origins of Sword come from those days in the beginning of Captain Marvel, at the middle of Captain Marvel, where they meet in the barn or whatever. Like the Skrulls got to know Maria and Carol and Fury that day, and that is probably the origins of what goes on to become Sword,
Right. So, I mean, it would have made sense that this government agency that we don't know about or had not known about all this time had been there, since the 90s or whatever, or, since its inception in around the 90s. But like the people in it, the people that run it being trustworthy because they knew, who our heroes knew. That, I mean, that's enough headcanon for me to be like, I guess that's how they got it.
Yeah. It's like that group of people who came to help Monica with the space rover. They were people loyal to her mom, not Hayward.
You also have to think about the people that are mostly responsible for Vision's body. Tony and in a way T'Challa, because they're all these are on his body is on the field, in Wakanda.
Banner.
And Banner.
He's the one I would have a biggest problem with. Like, he should know better. He should have gone and got him.
Well, the thing is, like, all of those people signed the Sokovia Accords, like, except for Banner.
Yeah, Banner didn't. Or maybe he did.
We don't know where he would have fallen once he came back or whatever. So,
well, Banner also didn't think of Vision as necessarily a hero. Like when he gets back in Infinity War and Tony tells him that Vision turned off his transponder, Banner's like, "You lost another super bot."
That's true.
Like that's the first thing he says, and that I mean that kind of shows that he doesn't think of Vision as an actual person.
Yeah, he did fight with him in Ultron, but after that he hasn't seen him. So, and actually,
he was the Hulk during that. Really,
well, he was there when he picked up
he was
the
created.
hammer. So, like he was there when he picked up the hammer, but he hasn't seen him in years. So he doesn't know who Vision is as a person, really.
Right.
Yeah.
So my point is, most of those people signed the Sokovia Accords, and if anything, like I don't know if Vision had ever had like a moment in court to decide if he's he has rights or not. Like I don't know if that ever happened. But if
we haven't gotten the Bicentennial Man scene with Vision,
or the episode of Star Trek where you get Measure of a Man, the episode Measure of a Man, where Data has a courtroom scene to find out if he's a real boy.
Yep.
All of that, we never got that for Vision. So, like, if anything, he is Stark's property. If, like, he's still property.
Right.
So, like, what would Stark do? And Stark had signed the Accords, and Stark just got done losing to Thanos. Like, I feel like the Sokovia Accords at that moment are probably more enforceable and more enforced than any other time. You know what I mean? So, like, if the government says, you got to turn over your superbot, he'd be like, all right, that's fair.
Yeah. Yes, I guess so.
But it does conflict with the idea of the government having his tech.
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of goes out the window once he's like working with Rhodey and once he has signed the Sokovia Accords, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's still a valid question to how Sword got Vision. And I think we might be getting a little bit of that backstory at the beginning of this week's episode. But who knows? Not me, because I didn't write it.
You said that like you were lying, like you did write it?
I've been writing Marvel movies and stories for the past 6.5 years because they have been listening to the podcast and going, ooh, that's a good idea. We should write that. That's how we predict these things so much is that we're like, this is a good idea. And they're like, sure. Yeah, do that.
Feige's a big fan.
Feige's like, put it on the board.
We are definitely not speed rounding right now. Let's keep moving.
Sorry. Chase Sifford says, afternoon, gentlemen, and Ashley. That's definitely the Fox Quicksilver, right? Agatha explicitly stated that only Wanda can create matter, which means she had to pull Peter from the Foxverse. Wanted to keep this short and sweet because I know y'all will get a ton of feedback. Love you. 1,500 times 2, Chase.
I really hope you're right, Chase, but I don't think you are. I
don't either.
At this point,
makes me sad.
Makes me really sad. I think they're just going with like Agatha grabbed a guy off the street and he just happens to look like a guy who played him in another movie. Although my favorite theory is that Agatha is the only character who's broken the fourth wall. Like she's looked at us as the audience and like told us to be quiet. Mm-hmm. And she sang her own little song, you know, like all of that.
She's Deadpool.
Yeah, she broke the fourth wall. So like, say she's multidimensional, can see all the universes. Maybe she actually does know our universe, you know, and maybe she created that Quicksilver or this version of Quicksilver to look like the version that we all know. Maybe Agatha is actually screwing with us, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. I think they just did that to us.
But that really does bring the idea that like, I mean, and we're going to get it with Deadpool anyway, but the idea that like our universe can be talked to and talked about in the MCU, which is very interesting and weird.
It seems like the perfect opportunity to be able to just easily bring those other characters over, though.
I agree, and I want it real bad, but I just, for some reason, I just don't see it at this point.
I know. I need Magneto to come for his son when he, Peter's gone, and then finally Storm is like, Magneto, he's your son. You never knew, because that was just an abandoned plot line by Fox that they just threw in the trash with all the other plot lines. And I just need him to come rescue him.
I would love that. I would absolutely.
That plays into our voicemail that we have as our next piece of feedback.
I will play it now.
Hey guys, long-time listener, first-time caller. I think there's one thing that we haven't considered when we talk about Magneto and Wanda's chaos magic. We can use both versions of Magneto at the same time. Let's say Ian McKellen comes in and says, "Oh, I'm your father from an alternative timeline," and then realizing she's missed all this time with him or wants to get to know him better, she warps him into Michael Fassbender, and now she has more time with him, plus we don't lose his origin story. What do you think?
That's interesting. You know, we've talked a lot about how they should change the origin to make it an African-American Magneto because of the timing is hard. But what if we do get Ian McKellen Magneto and then she uses her powers to de-age him?
This is my favorite theory of the night.
I like that theory a lot.
She can work him into Michael Fassbender. Oh, yes, please. The cherry on top.
Ash is like, if you're handing out Michael Fassbenders.
Yeah, oh God. I need one.
Sorry, Ken, we love you, but...
Can she work Ken into Michael Fassbender and then don't tell him?
Ken just wakes up in the morning, looks in the mirror, is like, what the
fuck? Or he doesn't see it at all, and he doesn't understand why all these girls are hitting on him all of a sudden. He's like, I feel taller.
You just remove all of the mirrors from your house.
No, it's like one of those charms where he can't see it, but everyone else can.
Oh, yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
That caller did not leave their name, I don't believe, but thank you. That's a great. We like that theory a lot.
We like that theory.
I don't think they're doing anything with the Fox guys, mostly because if they were going to do it, they'd do it by now. I think that like a last minute edition of the Foxverse would be an insane way to end this series that's about Wanda.
Yeah.
Unless I guess maybe post credit sequence, which is really what they're for. You know what I mean? Like doing something that's off topic. So like they could
doing something that's just like a batshit crazy edition, like, oh thank God, or like, oh my God, they did the thing. What does it mean for the next thing? We have to wait 2 weeks before the next piece of content. Matt, it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks from this Friday is when Falcon and the Winter Soldier comes out.
That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy.
I'm not ready for this to be over yet.
I'm not either. It ends Friday, but I'm really excited about Falcon and Winter Soldier, and also like
me too.
It's such a different kind of type of show. Like the three that are coming, that one is super exciting, and it's a lot more traditional Marvel, and I'm super pumped to see it. And then after that, we get Loki, like
where it's
Loki
a crime thriller.
Looks mind-blowingly cool and good and interesting and different. I'm so pumped.
Yep. And then I think it's like Loki has gotten the release date of June 11th put on it.
Okay.
And Black Widow is supposed to come out May 7th. So we get 5 weeks from Black Widow to the Loki show, which is a long ass time comparatively. Like, I mean, it's not a long time compared to like what we have had to deal with in the past, but like with the way that the verse is going right now, it feels like it's a huge amount of time between the content. Like, I need it now. I need it now, Marvel.
I am doing my absolute best to just like lay back and let the Marvel content just wash over me like an ocean and not try to like freak out about it coming too soon or too fast. I'm trying to just like be one with the Marvel content, you know, let it just like come at me.
It's like you've got a new chakra.
Yeah, I've got my Marvel chakra.
Mantra of Marvel.
Yeah. Let's hit the next thing. Let's keep going.
Cheyenne Hodgson says, good morning. I've been listening to your podcast for a while. I discovered it during the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You do great work.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love the emotional hit of this week's episode. Here are a few theories I've had going into the finale. Hayward is beyond sus. He was deliberately manipulating Wanda, hoping either she would bring Vision back or go nuclear, allowing him to justify someone else, or something else, rather. I love how they hinted at the whole vampire aspect of Agatha in the Halloween episode. I think like it showed us during her theme song, she came into Westview after Wanda changed it, basically looking for a sorcerer's smorgasbord, and then was really intrigued that it was only one person, so bided her time.
Mm-hmm.
Or still hold out hope that fake Pietro was mind-controlled Fox Pietro that Agatha pulled from the multiverse, and now that she's distracted, he can be good and help Monica. Maybe she said Snoop, or maybe he said Snooper's going Snoop because he was snooping too. I think the two visions merge into Wonder Man, and he and Wanda go traipsing through the multiverse together, looking for their kids at the end of this. Now that he has a link to the outside world, Vision can live outside the Hex, but those boys can't yet. Anyway, that's way too many points, but I was just itching to share them. Thanks for doing what you do, Cheyenne.
Ooh, I love that.
Oh my God, the two visions merging and making Wonder Man would be phenomenal.
And I kind of like the thought that Agatha goes around keeping herself young by sucking other witches' magic out. Wait.
Right.
You know what I mean? She's feeding off. Okay, let's start that
That's the one. That's the one.
Yeah, I think she stays young because she feeds off their magic.
Yeah.
Yep. Just
She said vampire. It's not my fault.
sucking off sorcerers. I gotcha.
Nope.
What? Like sucking off their magic?
Yep. No, I get it.
Okay.
Anyway.
It's like a suck party.
Seems like that word doesn't mean what I think it means. Cheyenne, those are some great theories. I love the Wonder Man theory. I love the idea. I know a lot of people are excited about Wonder Man. I don't know anything about him from comics. I know the real basics. But I love the idea. I also love the idea of Bettany playing a different character on top of all the things he's done so far. That's something that RDJ talked a lot about. The reason he stuck with Marvel as long as he did was because every movie he got a new challenge and he got to be a different kind of Tony. Like Tony progressed constantly. I really like the idea that like Wonder Man could be the next evolution of Vision because we've seen so many different parts of him already. And this show showed us more than ever that how many different versions he could be.
Yeah. Oh man. One of the things that was so unique about Simon Williams as a character from comics is that he was often manipulated by Baron Zemo, and like he started off as somebody who like was under Zemo's thumb, and he had what were called ionic powers. Like he could turn himself into energy almost, and could manipulate energy, and like he seemed to be dispersed at first, but like he reformed and basically saw that Zemo was a bad guy, and then decided to become a hero. But with Zemo being the big bad of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and that happening like right after this show, like there's a strong possibility that we could get that sort of Thunderbolt style storyline where Zemo is making a team that Simon Williams or Wonder Man or whatever, however you want to call him, is a part of that, and he gets to have that breaking away from the bad leadership, the bad guy leadership that we saw in the comics. Oh, I'm all about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
Was that good enough for the non-comic readers? Was that enough of the backstory with some?
I think so.
Some thought.
You did good.
Okay, I'm trying to learn from Mr. Fox's example this past week. He did a great job of voicing the non-comic book fan.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back after this ad we have no control over. And we're back. All right, there we go. Good trio.
Told you I would go down for you.
Oh.
All right, Travis Kaufman. Now we really have to get into speed round or we're never going to make it.
Travis Kaufman says, "Hey guys, love the show. Just wrote in to share a few thoughts. First off, we were wrong. There isn't any necrophilia going on. Second, I think the Vision inside the Hex is from another universe because of the way he said that it felt like it was someone else that Thanos had killed. Keep up the amazing content." Ooh,
because
that's a good call. That's a good call. He's a different. He got pulled from a different verse into Wanda's Hex. That tracks with it being like we were saying, it could have been that she kind of created this nexus of all realities. So everywhere from the multiverse is able to hit this Hex. Like this is the convergence point.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like maybe a lot of the things that she's bringing in are from the multiverse, which
are different versions of those people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know if
I like that.
it exactly makes sense with the sitcom thing, but like, yeah, like it definitely makes sense with the Pietro of it all and possibly the vision of it all. I like it. I dig it. Good job, Patrick Kaufman. Next.
Jeffrey James says, hey guys, just want to let you know that this thing with projecting different color rays from your hands as representative of different flavors of magic originated with the Roger Corman movie The Raven in 1963. That film was notable for two reasons. First, it started the trifecta of Vincent Price, Boris Karloff, and Peter Lorre. And second, the cast included a very young Jack Nicholson, who was also one of the producers. This movie may also have been the inspiration for Doctor Strange, who was launched as a character in July of that year.
Always coming with the facts, Jeffrey James.
Yeah, Jeffrey James is awesome. He guested on an episode of PandaVision because he has some like really specific expertise about the occult and such, and it was pretty awesome.
Somewhere I read that the crown that Agatha's mother was wearing kind of looked like Zaranaz from the Atlanteans, and like that might have been some kind of Atlantean magic or something. Like that was a real deep dive.
And that's why it's blue.
Yeah.
My God, there's so many puns there. It's blue magic and water, obvious. You just said deep dive because Atlantis, like, it's just laden with all of the puns. I love it.
It was punnier than you realized.
Yep.
I do that a lot.
All right, we got another color theory.
Color theory here. Celia Coffer says, hey dudes, long time, first time. We're listening to your episode 8 instant reaction, thinking of the color spectrum of blue to red, in which purple would be in the middle. Maybe blue, the Coven, is the weakest, red, Wanda/Scarlet is the strongest, and the MCU is full of instances of villains being deemed villains for the power they possess. That's why the Coven was after Agatha, and Agatha is scared of Wanda. Or is it a coincidence that purple is a mix of red and blue? No coincidences. 3,000, Celia and Jeff.
Well, we know where Jeff stands. No coincidences.
Quill agrees.
Quill's into it.
Quill's like, I concur, Bork.
I like it. That's not a bad thought that it could be a spectrum of these magics. I dig it.
Cool.
A spectrum.
A spectrum.
Spectrum.
And Monica is the combination of all of them. Because she's the spectrum.
Yeah, and she's white, which is a combination of all colors. It
Isn't
is.
that black?
No. Black is the absence of all color. White
Absence
is
of all
the
color.
inclusion of all colors.
Well, it depends. If you mix paints and you mix all of them together, it becomes black.
Right, that's pigment. It's different.
Oh, the Doctor Strange magic's called Eldritch magic, right? And that's magic from shapes or something, now that I'm thinking about it? No?
I don't know.
No, Eldritch is like Cthulhu and elder beings.
There's stuff to do with symbols and shapes.
I feel like the Elder Being stuff is similar to like Dormammu and Dark Dimension stuff. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
And Chthon and
drawing from
Agamotto.
So that could be Eldritch magic. I don't know. I'm totally in the dark about the different kinds of magic. We Jeffrey James, I like the movie history, but if you happen to know a lot about these different kinds of magics, feel free to come on, tell us all about it.
Movie history, color theory is great and all, but I need magic history.
which he has some of. And I know Ashley would love a primer on all the magics.
Yes.
All right. Corey Smalls says in episode 8, we see that Wanda basically manifests Vision back to life with her stone powers, but Hayward told everyone that she stole Vision's body from S.W.O.R.D. Am I missing something? I'm over the moon, however, that we got Spectral Vision. I'll be on pins and needles waiting for episode 9. I think Hayward, in creating the Spectral Vision, is going to pull a Tony Stark and accidentally upload Ultron into the new android body. When the Spectral Vision looked down at his hands, he looked to have a realization of what just happened with a small smirk on his face. Put it on the board! Keep on keeping on.
Interesting. Did he have a smirk? I didn't see a smirk.
I don't remember him doing anything more than just opening his eyes and looking around.
Yeah, to me it looked more like a very cold, unfeeling look on his face.
Maybe that's you projecting what you expect of him.
It's possible. I just don't remember having my expectations averted by him acting differently than that. He looked very blank to me. I don't know.
Yeah. Like he twitches, he opens his eyes, and then it flashes back to Hayward.
He like looks down at his hands for a second.
And then he does look down at
His
his hand.
eyes are crazy. They look like the Space Stone. I wonder if they're using some of the stuff that they had left over from S.H.I.E.L.D., like the Tesseract
juice
weapons to make him, because then that would make him part of a stone too.
Yeah, he does have that little. It looks like maybe some sort of form of the arc reactor on his forehead,
on his noggin.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's gonna be a problem.
It's a really weird. Like, why did they have the drone sitting off to the side, which is like wreathed in Wanda's red magic? Like, why does that shift into this white thing that Vision is? Like, how does that translate? How do they get there? I don't know.
I don't know.
They don't have a good sense of color palette to put into their murder bot. I don't know. They're like, just make it white.
Right. Sometimes you're not good colors, so you pick like a neutral color to just like get by with.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody else might come along later and want to zhuzh it up.
Yeah. They didn't have time to really to get more than just one layer of gesso on him, so they left it at that, and they're like, we'll paint him later.
There's Vision Prime is inside the hex. Vision Primer is outside the hex.
We have a really good base down.
That was an awesome joke, Matt, especially with us talking about pigment earlier and mixing paints. That's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
That was so good.
Oh, that's what I was saying earlier. When you see all spectrums of light, it's white, and when you see no spectrums of light, it's black.
If it absorbs all of the colors, then it's black.
Yeah. If it bounces all the colors, it's white. That's what I was trying to think of earlier. Or I don't know, we changed the subject really abruptly or something. Actually, I think my dog freaked out and we edited around it, but that's what I was getting at earlier. Anyway, Vision Primer. Let's go.
Yep, Vision Primer. Don't lose the joke.
Don't lose the joke. Hold on to it.
Hold on to that one. Flypack Attack says, hello, pandas.
Hello.
Hola.
So I think I have one of the darkest theories ever. So we know Wanda and Vision did have fun in bed.
Oh.
We also know Vision isn't technically real. Does this mean that the children aren't either? My theory is that Wanda will realize that she needs to let go of Vision, which means taking down the Hex. However, when she does take down the Hex, she realizes the children don't exist, and she will feel more lost than ever before, and might even make a deal with the main villain of Multiverse of Madness, and maybe becoming the villain for Multiverse of Madness. Thank you guys for reading this very long theory. That's not the longest theory I've ever read. So
Flypack Attack, we appreciate you thinking that's a long theory.
Yeah,
we definitely
keep it like that, and we're good.
Get them that are very, very, very long.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah,
I like that though, but I think that's also far from the darkest theory, because I had the darkest theory earlier today.
Yeah.
Beheading children.
We've gone darker places even just today. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I like that she realizes that she has to take the Hex down. She loses everybody that she loves again, and then is just like, F everything. I'm going to make a deal with this crazy, super powerful being who just ate a cicada.
Yeah, I think it's very likely something tragic is going to happen, and it's going to push her to some form of like really bad decision or really bad instinct, like her, like you said, making a deal, but also, or just like exploding the Hex to cover the entire world or universe or multiverse.
You know, it'd be really freaking funny is if, Wanda loses everything, loses Vision, loses the kids, and like the bunny comes hopping up to her and turns into somebody, like shifts form into somebody and makes the deal with Wanda, and like camera pans around and we see Dottie and she's like, I knew it.
Here's something I'm really curious. I love it. Here's something I'm really curious about with the way this show has been and the style of this show so far. The show has been so based in the sitcom world and TV logic and doing all these TV references. And then it slowly drifted out of that over this course of these last few episodes where we're getting more and more that's sort of like in the real world or outside of what's going on. But still, our main characters, even up through episode 7, were still existing in a sitcom world,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So what I'm really curious about in this last episode is like, how much are they going to use the style of this show as the language of the ending? How much of it is going to tie together what has happened so far? Because they're out of sitcom eras. So the only thing I can imagine is that if they do something, the show has been so much about the style, almost over the substance at times. Like giving us 3 episodes of all sitcoms at the beginning. Like, I'm really curious if at the end of this, she's going to like, whatever she's doing is going to like really warp reality, and we're gonna get a lot of like weird TV shit in the last episode. You know what I mean? I keep thinking we're just gonna have a battle between characters, but like I would be really interesting to see if they do like some really cool stuff with TV at the end.
I wonder if they will.
Like she warps it becomes a gangster thing, and they're ducked behind cars with Tommy guns, like
Right. Just go through all kinds of eras and genres and stuff like that. Could be really neat. Like we get into a fight scene between the two visions, and then she starts changing it to different kinds of fight scenes through eras of TV or whatever.
Yeah, like it becomes a kung fu movie where they're just like,
oh my gosh, it'd be so cool,
wouldn't it?
It'd be so
awesome.
cool.
Neat.
Yeah.
It might be too much.
The more I think about it, and the final fight, like Vision is in big trouble. It's not just like it's Vision in there. It's Wanda, it's Monica, the twins, Agatha, Senior Scratchy. Like he's got a couple people in there who are going to stand against him, and it might not end up well for him.
Yeah,
but that's
Even
the thing.
Pietro.
We don't know how many of those people are on what team or how many teams there even are.
But I mean, you know, like when Vision or whatever we want to call him comes in, we know Wanda's going to try to stop him. Vision and Monica, at least. Don't think Agatha is going to team up with him, and the twins have powers.
Yeah. White Vision could be in trouble, but also Agatha, I don't know which side she's going to fall on, you know?
Yeah. I don't see her going on his side, but we'll see.
Well, like what happens when the kids realize that they were just created from nothing,
that they're
not real?
That's going to be great.
Then they have that fallout with the parents of like, how dare you? Like,
or just like nothing, or they just settle in like their mother and be like, well, I guess mom was right. Nothing matters.
Nothing matters.
They just become like super nihilistic and apathetic, and they're just like,
yeah, they're the disaffected teens for Young Avengers. It's going to be perfect.
They become the disaffected teens. They age up into disaffected teens.
At that moment.
They go full goth. Yeah, they look at each other and they're like, yeah, full goth.
They're like Wiccan's whole like
15-year-old
outfit from the comics.
Yeah.
Like I'd love to see him age up into like kind of gothy Wiccan. Like, yeah, let me see it.
That would be so funny. That would be so funny.
Hey, we got Gale Force. We got feedback from Gale Force.
Oh, Gale Force 1. Gail Harderwood says, on behalf of all of us non-comics peeps, appreciation for including quick context and backstory in the midst of the cast to educate and keep us along for the ride. I feel so sorry for Jeff, who sounds pained and having to constrain himself in this aspect.
We must have had a lot of that this last couple weeks. I feel like we have. Because there's so many comics references and theories happening, and I keep trying to be like, okay, hold on, let's talk, make sure. And so thank you, Gail, and thank you for knowing my name and not calling me the other guy. Just teasing.
She says, additionally, can we find a different reference than Dirty Casuals, Matthew Fox? Where did that even come from? Personally, I am neither of these things. Wishing everyone an incredible finale week from #GaleForce1, who now stands for both language standards and comic ignorant MCU fans. Gail. Oh, Gail, I love you so much.
Thank you, Gail. Dirty Casuals, I think that's from those guys, what's that? There's a YouTube channel that like I think that I associate that with. Collider? Is that it? Those guys say that all the time. One of the guys from Collider says Dirty Casual like and maybe it's just a thing that's said. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from on the internet. I just remember that like it just kind of entered the public consciousness on the internet for anybody who is just a casual fan and not like a super fan that does like the deep dive, scanning the internet every day.
I did not know what you guys are talking about and I didn't even have like the sense of mind to ask. I'm like, that sounds like a word I'd use. What's next?
Yeah, no, I think it's
now I get it.
What it is, it's a casual fan. It's exactly what Gail is saying.
So you're like a dirty casual fan of Star Wars.
Right. Like, yeah, I guess I'm a dirty casual for Star Wars. I don't go that deep on it, you know? But like, I think the dirty part is supposed to, the idea is that you are the real fan and they're the dirty casuals.
Yeah, they're scum.
It sort of is. So it is supposed to be a derogatory term, but I don't think it's like used in a really derisive way. I think it's just mostly like, you dirty casuals.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Gail, we're trying real hard. I'm trying real hard to remember the non-comic fans so that I make sure to fully flesh out all of the random, off the wall immediate theories that I have, so that I can bring everybody with me.
Yeah, this show has been very hard for it because there's so many references to like deep comics things and like very small things, and they make you want to like speculate, but you cannot. Not everybody knows every piece of knowledge so that all the people know. So like, it is really funny because it's like we get to. I love that. I love when that happens. The feedback, like Gail just did, and we had that and the 5-star review earlier that was saying exactly the opposite. Like, no, let Jeff run. Let Jeff run. Chain. And I'm like, and then Gail's like, thank you so much for keeping Jeff a little contained. Keeping the non-comics fans included or whatever. It's like we're trying to balance. It's always a balance. It's like every time we get a scathing review about one thing, there's always someone else going like, do more of that.
Yeah. It's perfectly balanced as all things should be, really.
Got to bring balance to the force, yo.
I was making a Marvel reference and you took it to a filthy casual space.
Yeah, I'm definitely the filthy casual there.
Yeah.
Can we just call Gail like the it goes with the language thing. We could call her the clean casual. No, okay.
I get it. It's funny. I get it. I don't know that she wants
feels
that.
About it.
Yeah, it's really up to her.
She said she's neither of those things. So
she's not a casual.
She's the clean formal.
Clean formal.
No,
doesn't roll off the tongue as well.
No, it doesn't. I don't know. We'll workshop a good name for people that aren't as big comic fans. How about non-comics fans?
Yeah. Just MCU fans.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is the MCU podcast. Like, that's what we're here to talk about. So that's why I always try to like make sure we're bringing everybody with us when we want to go off on a big comics thing, which I'm not a big comics guy either. I am a casual for sure. I become less so the more I like do this podcast and like we read a few books and we do deep dives on the internet and stuff. But like, I am definitely still a casual.
Yeah. And I don't want to build on it anymore.
Yeah. Also,
I want to move on.
I do think that term generally relates specifically to the comics. It doesn't relate to like they're not saying you're a casual fan of the movies, for instance, Gail. Right. Like you can be a diehard of the movies, but people that think they know more than you about nerdy things might say you're a filthy casual. But like it is a derisive term in that sense. It is kind of gatekeepy, I guess.
It is. It's a gatekeepy term when used in the context of like you're not a real fan of these, this decade of movies that has come about and the show, unless you've read all of the source material that it's supposed to be inspired by. Like, yeah, not everybody has time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that,
right? Mm-hmm. Like, ain't nobody got time for that. And B, like, it's nice to be surprised instead of like, you want to be taken for the ride rather than trying to imagine where they're going to go with it. Sometimes some people like that. Some people like me are often just like, I know where this is going, I think.
Yeah. It's very different ways to watch things. And like, I even try to make our show a balance of that. Like, I don't want us to be all speculation. I want to talk about like the show and what's happening. Like, I really like the interpretation. We talked about it with Malcolm in the Middle earlier, where like that tape's in there. Like, what could that mean? Oh, it could mean this. And that gives us a different way to look at the show, not just keep always looking forward. Because the truth is, we can always look forward and it's fun. And I love doing it. But like, we don't know nothing. So we're just
speculation is great fun and all, but like you do still have to enjoy the ride.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the balance.
That's huge for the purposes of enjoying a show like this. Because so many people they have their pet theory and it's like, this is going to happen. And if it doesn't, I riot,
Lauren Water says, hello, all not a theory, but just something I wanted to highlight. So the score under the episode this week might sound a bit familiar, as a lot of it actually contains segments of the music we hear over the end credits sequence every week, aka Wanda's theme. During each of Wanda's formative traumas, her theme becomes a little bit clearer and a bit more distinct, mirroring how Wanda's identity was shaped by these events. I just thought this was a great use of musical storytelling and a fun little Easter egg to look out for on a rewatch. I hope you have a great week. Can't wait for the finale, even though I'm super sad to say goodbye to the show. Lauren.
Us too, Lauren. Us too. Thank you for writing in.
Thank you for writing in this musical theory observation, Lauren, and showing Matt up as the musician of the podcast.
Well, if we want to get into it, I don't know which theme she's talking about, because there is a cello theme that keeps coming in throughout this episode for trauma, and it is the same theme that they use at the end of Endgame. And I never understood it to be Wanda's theme, but that may be. It may be that it's in other places for Wanda. I thought it was the sort of like sad tragedy theme from the end of Endgame. There's also some really interesting stuff going on in the music. There's really cool videos out there you can find. I'll put one in the show notes, because there's one that's really cool that shows the WandaVision music, that WandaVision, those 4 notes, they are used in really cool ways throughout. Like dum 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 dum. That's the Agatha all along. It's like it's almost the same pattern. They do it throughout the entire series. Those 4 notes are in almost every song. And they move them around to different keys, but it's really interesting how they use those 4 notes throughout the entire series to create the musical language of the show. It's really, really cool.
Okay, you've redeemed yourself.
I had to. You came at me. You came at me, bro, and I had to.
Well, then allow me to retort.
Sound like I know what I'm talking about for a second about music. But I don't know which one's Lauren's song. There's like a cello theme that I've heard that they did use a lot in this episode, but I don't know if it's, I never realized it was Wanda's theme. I thought it was just like a tragedy theme they've used a few times.
Right. Tragedy theme. That's whenever you start to direct or create a property for Marvel Cinematic Universe, you're handed a palette of like, these are your colors, these are your sounds, this is the tragedy theme. If anything bad's going to happen, you got to use this one. Plug that in.
Somebody did, I think, we talked about this on the podcast before, the idea that they use comp music or temp music now. You remember this? There's a guy who made a really cool video essay on YouTube about how nowadays all these big movies use temp music. And like what they do is they basically use music that already exists to create the movie. Like when they're editing the movie, they use music that already exists, that they like, something like this, and then they will edit the movie to that. And then they will send it to the composers and be like, hey, compose music. We put some temp tracks, do something like that. And
inspired by that.
Inspired by that. But then the problem is music keeps sounding kind of the same. And they make the case that it's the reason that we rarely have in movies today a theme that we recognize. Because it's so like filtered through like these being the same thing and like whatever. It's so filtered through that like we rarely get a real whatever. You hear what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? That thing I just said.
Bum, 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 bum. Yep. Bum, bum, bum.
What theme is that? See, I don't know.
Matt.
I'm going to say it's your failure of singing.
Nope.
Don't put me on blast.
It sounded like Star Trek.
Oh my God.
See? You can't blame me.
No.
Anyway, synchronized swimming.
Synchronized swimming. It was the Avengers theme. Thank you, Alan Silvestri. Also the composer of your favorite franchise, Matt, Back to the Future. Damn it.
That didn't sound like the Avengers.
That didn't sound like the Avengers.
I'm just going to say. I'm just saying.
I'm hungry.
Okay, we got 3 more. Speed round.
Dylan Diggs says, hey all, my wife Rena Chris, this in one of her AP Psych teaching Facebook groups, and then posts a hypeable WandaVision, Wanda's Grief article. I think you've all talked about grief and Wanda's grief a lot, but given the levels of compound grief and some of the legitimate concerns about how this is addressed in the wider fan community, it might be interesting to park a moment in one of those feedback episodes to really dive into Wanda's grief, the societal grief that is going on across the MCU, and probably the strain on therapy going on in that society right now, and its implications. Keep up the good work, Excelsior! That's a good call.
That's a good call. I will put that in our doc of episode ideas, because I do like the idea of doing that and like trying to look at grief through the eyes of that. Actually, honestly, it sounds like a really good superhero ethics episode.
It does sound like a good superhero ethics episode.
Grief in the Marvel Universe and how they treat it. But unfortunately, we like the idea. We will try to look into that in a future episode. But right now, we don't have.
That reminds me of a different email that we got.
Do the deep dive right now.
Yeah, that reminds me of a different email that we got where somebody wants to talk about whether or not society failed villains, kind of as in podcast form, and it's something that seems to apply here. Would be really good to potentially have a guest on.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if Wanda is goes too far or whatever,
Yeah. Brett Burris says White Vision is powered by Wanda's power, so there will be a huge fight where Vision is kicking everyone's butt and OG Vision pleads with Wanda to remove the hex, which would take away Vision's power supply. She knows this will kill Vision and her kids. Drama. Hex is removed and Vision drops to the ground. Agatha becomes a mentor to Wanda somehow. Brett.
All right.
Ugh.
You're killing me, Brett. I'll put it on the board, but it hurts.
Yeah, that's some swings. I like it.
Marshall Naylor says, when this episode first started, I was insanely worried because it was bad. I did not like it at all. And then the episode went on and it was fine. 1, I don't think this devil guy I keep hearing about is not in the show. 2, you guys decide. Tiny plot issue or something else. Acting director of S.W.O.R.D. and Oscar winner for best asshole for no reason at all, Hayward, can somehow track Vision even though it's not his dead body. Is Wanda's power strong enough to create or to radiate vibranium? Thanks, guys. Marshall Naylor. Marshall, I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say that you were wrong, that this episode was great. Start to end, beginning to end, you're incorrect.
Hey.
You feel incorrectly, Marshall.
Wait, what? He said it wasn't great?
Yeah, he said it was.
Oh, I missed that beginning.
I thought
because it was bad. Oh, okay, sorry. I don't know. The sword thing, first off, I don't think that Director Hayward necessarily is a dick for no reason. I think he legitimately fears Wanda,
Yeah, powered people.
That's not good.
Especially since powered people are kind of the reason that half the universe got destroyed.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yep.
He thinks that they're responsible to some degree, and they did go against the Accords to go fight, and maybe if they'd coordinated differently, maybe it would have been fine, But it did not work out, and now there's lots of reasons for that to be. The second point about the vibranium or whatever, it seems like she can create vibranium at least inside her hex. The question is, can it exist outside the hex?
Yeah, they were tracking the decay signature or whatever they called it of the vibranium. So as it's breaking down, as any thing has a half-life, really, or especially any compound has a half-life. Especially radiation, things that give off a radiation. So, does vibranium have radiation in it? And obviously that's what was being used to track that. But I mean, if she can create any matter at all, then it stands to reason that she could create any matter at all, right? If you can create one, you can create anything.
I mean, if that's her power set, yeah.
Right. If that's her power set, if she can just kind of that exists now, then it would make sense that she could create Vision in exactly the form that he actually exists in, which is the human body thing mixed with vibranium from Age of Ultron. Kind of that exists now.
Right.
So
that appears to be a thing that she can do. Now, how, if it's sustainable, if it lasts past the hex, if it is really him, all that stuff is real squirrely, and we just don't know.
Yeah. See, and that seems to be the issue that we keep running into is he tried to go outside the hex and he started getting ripped apart because he doesn't exist outside the hex.
But he also didn't get completely ripped apart. He fell to the ground, remember?
Right, but he was being pulled apart and disintegrated back into it. It was going slowly. And she expanded the hex before it fully happened and kind of put him back together.
Right.
So at least within the hex, he is real and he is that Vision. He is, actual fully realized vibranium synthezoid Vision within the hex.
Now here's another idea. We talk a lot about how this power comes from, a lot of the magic in this universe comes from the other dimensions and other realities or whatever, it is possible that she's not creating some of these things, but she's pulling them from other universes or something to that effect, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's so many things that we still don't know about Wanda's power, about Vision, about, what happened with Hayward. Like, we're all still in the dark. Hey, man, we're all working with the same scarcity of intel.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but that's why we're here, is to talk about it. But we don't know. Yeah. Like, oftentimes our answer has to be, I don't know. That's all we got.
Yeah.
All we got shoulders right over here.
All shoulders over here.
Never heard that phrase. I like it.
Oh, what was his name? Tom
Segura.
Yeah. Good old Tom Segura reference.
The lady behind the counter was all shoulders about it.
That's wonderful. I love Tom Segura. I haven't heard that one though. Okay, Ashley, any live chat stuff? And again, if you are wanting to join these live watches, we do every Friday that there's a new episode. We're doing an 8 a.m. live watch, and every Monday around 7. Sometimes we have to ship the times on Mondays, but come hang out. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I have about 5. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Sorry if we don't get to your comments, but stay golden, pony boy. Let's do this. Okay.
Catherine Hahn reference from Step Brothers.
From Super Brothers? What?
No, I was going to say Superbad, but that's not the movie.
Okay. Dr. Kyle Berkeley says, I feel like Ross pulled rank for Natasha and Cap's freedom after the snap. Ross wanted his super soldiers, especially after Hulk wasn't coming out of Banner at that time. Probably.
Yeah, that's very possible. So she's saying the same thing we were discussing about the Sokovia Accords, and that Ross... Yeah, how much of a dick was Ross during those 5 years? And how much it seems kind of like Tony checked out during those 5 years. You know? Like, he goes and lives on that, like, he might have just, like, been, fine, take Vision's body, like, bury it. Then maybe they promised him they wouldn't make weapons out of it, and he was just like, well, that's fine. I'm no longer in the super game, I'm gonna go live by my lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hera JK said, along with that, Tony was lost in space at the end of Infinity War. When he finally got brought back by Captain Marvel, he was still recovering. He then left the Avengers to go live with Pepper. His mind wasn't on the tech when they found him in Endgame.
That's true.
Yeah. Responsibility, though. You created it, you need to take care of it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Zombie for Prez said, if we get to keep the kids, will they continue to age at crazy speeds? And will we get a no more blank, blank, blank moment?
No more. Oh, right.
No more.
No more mutants, but no more something.
No more witches.
I don't think we're getting a no more moment in this. I think if we get a no more moment or a mutant moment, like where she creates mutants, I think that's going to come in Multiverse of Madness or something like that. Like, I think that could be that she's like tearing up the world and they send him after her to kill her, maybe with other heroes, even just like in the comics. And then she says, maybe she says no more heroes, and gets rid of all of them.
Oh, and in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Zemo says in like that most recent trailer that superheroes should not be allowed to exist. So,
right.
Like that. Maybe
that's the tie-in.
What if he gets his wish? Yeah, maybe that's the tie-in.
Yeah.
What if he's manipulating her?
Or does, maybe maybe like the Falcon Winter Soldier show ties into Multiverse of Madness as well somehow, and he like manipulates her into doing his bidding to some degree. Maybe he's Magneto.
No, I won't like that. I'd be so, that's a good theory, but I'd be so annoyed if they let him manipulate people more. It's like, this guy has one bag that he always does, that if you guys cannot keep an eye on him long enough to make sure he doesn't manipulate somebody else, you two failed at your job.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Rainbow Hydra says, are we getting a post-credit episode, or a post-credit scene for episode 9? I'm going to hope for yeah.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
I think we have to. I think the amount of content that is in this episode that is like going to set up future stuff, like there has to be a post-credits thing. Like, there wasn't a post-credits thing at the end of Endgame just because that was like that's the end of the saga.
This is the beginning.
22 movie saga. This is the beginning of it.
It was the end of the game. Sorry.
We ain't playing games no more.
Okay. And Rowan 22 says, do you see Vision coming out of the show alive? And if so, what form would he be in and what stories would he be involved in?
Ooh, does White Vision count as a villain turn?
We keep talking about Hayward and how Hayward's a dick, but like Hayward does have a reason to be doing the thing he's doing. So like Vision might have a reason to be doing the things he's doing. Maybe he's not a villain. Maybe he's a different kind of hero, but he definitely think he's not going to align with Wanda.
Oh, what if he's like the first version of Sentinels?
Yeah, we talked about that a few episodes ago. That like maybe Sentinels will be based on the tech that is, it makes absolute sense, especially if she brings mutants into this whole thing.
And when they were pulling his arm apart, did you guys see that he was made out of hexagons?
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Hexes are everywhere. Wiggly woos.
Wiggly woo hexes.
Yeah. All right.
Man.
Is that all the feedback?
That's all.
All right. We have gone way over tonight. And you guys who stuck with us, thank you. You're troopers.
Yeah, you guys are the best.
In the live chat, you're freaking awesome. And those of you who made it this far into the podcast.
And those Ashleys who have made it this far at night.
Right. I do want to throw a plug out real quick. I have a project that we're going to start working on that I'm very, very excited about. And it's going to be on the Matthew Carroll podcast. It's going to be weird. It's superhero related, but it's going to be very meta and weird. And I'm not going to really talk about it yet on cast, but go subscribe to the Matthew Carroll podcast. It's going to be a fun little series of episodes, and it's going to have some like other content with it and stuff. So if you don't mind, Matthew Carroll podcast, that's me. Go subscribe there because like it's going to be fun and weird. It's all I can say right now.
Can we give the small teaser that Captain Headcanon is going to show up in some way?
It is superhero related, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be more complicated than it sounds.
All right.
Okay. We're behind you.
Thank you. You guys know what it is.
I support you.
But if you all want to know what it is, I'm not even going to announce it on the cast until we've done a few episodes over there on the Matthew Carroll podcast. So go check out, subscribe over there, and you'll know quicker what I'm talking about. It's a secret. It's actually a secret. Shh. Okay. Ashley, thank you so much.
Matthew, thank you.
You're the best.
This is great.
You're the best. Jeffrey, you the man. Good job. Thanks for hanging out. And all of you people out there in the podcast world, thank you for listening. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Subscribe on the podcast so you get all the things for Falcon and Winter Soldier. Subscribe and hit the bell notification on YouTube. All the things. We love you.
Be part of the embarrassment.
Yes. Oh gosh, I didn't put that in the feedback. Last thing. Catherine Ray on Trivia Night let us know something that we did not know, and it is that pandas, a group of pandas, like a group of geese is a gaggle, a group of pandas is known as an embarrassment.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It's awesome.
That's so good.
So everything we've been saying about ourselves since then has been like, well, it's no longer like the Stranded Panda Army. It's like join the embarrassment.
Yeah.
Jump
on the wagon.
Yeah. If we have a con, it's going to be the Stranded Panda embarrassment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Embarrasscon. Yeah. I don't know. It's something we may end up using embarrassment for something. I just love it. I just think it's so funny.
For sure.
Yeah. Join the embarrassment. I love it. All right. That's all. Peace.
Until next time, true believers.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. Available everywhere you get podcasts, and now a video version streaming live on twitch.tv/strandedpandatv and available at youtube.com/strandedpanda. And if you'd like to learn more about all of our other podcasts, geeky projects, and ways to support the network, visit strandedpanda.com.